Monocle glass screwed into my eye, watching the microscopic seconds fly. Brass and gold scattered on the tray, fixing the hours that slipped away. A mainspring broken, a gear stuck fast, rescuing the moments from the past. The oil is slippery, the tweezers are fine, walking the thin and delicate line between the now and the then, making the heartbeat start again. Tick-tock, the rhythm of the room, chasing away the silence and the gloom. I am the mender of the broken time, searching for the reason and the rhyme. 1 second forward, never looking back, keeping the world on its invisible track. Hands of steel and a heart of stone, working in this universe alone. Wall to wall, the faces stare, pendulum swinging in the dusty air. Some run fast and some run slow. Where they are racing, I don't know. Dust motes dancing in the desk lamp glare, handling the fragile with the utmost care. A pocket watch with a cracked glass face, restoring the dignity and the grace. It's not just metal that I repair, it's the memories that are hidden there. Tick-tock, the rhythm of the room, chasing away the silence and the gloom. I am the mender of the broken time, searching for the reason and the rhyme. 1 second forward, never looking back, keeping the world on its invisible track. Hands of steel and a heart of stone, working in this universe alone. Outside the window, time is a flood, rushing through the veins and the blood. But in this shop, I hold the dam, controlling the flow of who I am. Precision is peace, order is king, listening to the balance wheels sing. Synchronized chaos, a symphony, playing for no one else but me. The heart's perfect times until tomorrow. Sound mist rolling over the surface deep, while the rest of the world is fast asleep. Setting up the chair on the muddy ground, listening to the silence all around. A thermos of coffee steaming hot, happy with this quiet, lonely spot. The air is damp and cold on my face, slowing down the heart's frantic pace. A tiny green light floating on the black. There is no need to ever go back. Waiting for the ripple, waiting for the pull, when the moon is high and the mind is full. Staring at the light in the velvet dark, a tiny glowing electric spark. It's not about the catch, it's not about the prize, it's about watching the sun slowly rise, drifting away on the water's edge, standing on the morning thoughts bobbing up and down like the float, reading the message in a bottled note. Reflections of the trees upside down, far away from the noise of the town. Patience is a teacher, stern and kind, untangling the knots inside my mind. The line connects me to the deep unknown, in this kingdom where I sit alone. Breath turns to fog in the morning chill. Time is standing perfectly still. Waiting for the ripple, waiting for the pull, when the moon is high and the mind is full. Staring at the light in the velvet dark, a tiny glowing electric spark. It's not about the catch, it's not about the prize, it's about watching the sun slowly rise, drifting away on the water's edge, standing on the morning silent ledge. The sky turns purple, then turns blue. The water reveals its morning hue. Birds begin to sing in the reeds nearby, waking up the earth and the heavy sky. The green light fades as the day begins, washing away the night's little sin. go home. Gray fog hugging the mountain peak, finding the silence that I see. Stone steps worn by 1,000 feet, where the earth and the heavens meet. The smell of incense, sandalwood smoke, awaken from the night without a spoke. Dewdrops hanging on the pine tree needles, solving the mind's eternal riddle. My robe is rough, the air is cold, a story of peace that is never told. Sweeping the leaves, sweeping the mind, leaving the dusty world behind. One stroke left, one stroke right, erasing the shadows of the night. The wind chime sings a crystal song. Right here is where I belong, emptying out the cup of care, breathing in the mountain air. Walks by with a silent bow, living completely in the here and now. The lantern flame flickers and dies as the sun begins to paint the skies. Tea pouring into a ceramic bowl, no answers found, just the peace of the holy ground. The world below is starting to wake, but here the silence will never break. Sweeping the leaves, sweeping the mind, leaving the dusty world behind. One stroke left, one stroke right, erasing the shadows of the night. The wind chime sings a crystal song. Right here is where I belong, emptying out the cup of care, breathing in the mountain air. The clouds part ways for the golden beat, waking up from the human dream. A lotus blooms in the muddy pond, looking to the shore beyond. Stillness in motion, motion in rest, putting the anxious heart to the test. The yard is clean, the day begins. Peace be with you. surface shining under the high beams of frozen canvas for my midnight dreams. Lacing up the boots, pulling them tight, preparing to fly in the middle of the night. The air is sharp, stinging my nose, numbing my fingers and numbing my toes. But the motion warms me from the inside out, erasing the fear, erasing the doubt. A push and a glide, smooth and long, humming the melody of a silent song. Tracing lines on the silver glass, watching the heavy hours pass. Circle to the left, circle to the right. Dancing alone in the pale spotlight, the sound of the blade, a whisper so loud, far away from the cheering crowd. Gravity holds me, but I feel free in this frozen reflections gliding on the barrier wall, waiting for the moment I might fall. But tonight I am steady, tonight I am strong. Right here is where I truly belong. Breath cloud rising like a little ghost to the things that I miss the most. The friction is gone, the world is smooth, finding a rhythm, finding a groove. Scratches on the surface, a map of my mind, leaving the friction of the world behind. Tracing lines on the silver glass, watching the heavy hours pass. Circle to the left, circle to the right. Dancing alone in the pale spotlight, the sound of the blade, a whisper so loud, far away from the cheering crowd. Gravity holds me, but I feel free in this frozen sanctuary. Spinning around in the center zone, claiming this kingdom as my own. The world is blurry when I move this fast, breaking the chains of the heavy past. Stop on a dime, sending snow in the air. A moment of silence that we can share. step off the ice, warm again. In a back alley where the sun barely shines, tracing the history in the groove lines. Dust on my fingers, crate digging slow, searching for a sound from a long time ago. Faces on the covers, smiling in black and white, frozen forever in the studio light. The alphabet starts with A and ends with Z. A library of souls waiting just for me. No skipping tracks, no digital haste, just the analog flavor and the vintage taste. Spinning round at 33, setting the locked up memories free. The B-side of the city the track skipped over, finding the luck like a four-leaf clover, needle in the groove, right in the wave, digging up the music from a quiet grave. Warmth in the noise, crackle in the air, a perfect imperfection that we can share. Reading the liner notes on the back, thanking the people who kept them on track. A dedication to a lover from 1975. Keeping the spirit of the romance alive. A scratch on the surface, a skip in the beat reminds me that nothing is ever complete. Plastic protection, a price tag faded for the lonely hearts and the slightly jaded. Here time stops, or maybe it rewinds, leaving the chaos of the modern world behind. Spinning round at 33, setting the locked up memories free. The B-side of the city the track skipped over, finding the luck like a four-leaf clover, needle in the groove, right in the wave, digging up the music from a quiet grave. Warmth in the noise, crackle in the air, a perfect imperfection that we can share. Drop the needle and close your eyes. No need for filters, no need for lies, just the vibration of a diamond on wax. Filling the empty and silent cracks. The song ends, but the loop goes on, waiting for the break of the digital dawn. watching the rising of the tide. The windshield is a blur of water streams, distorting the world like waking dreams. A single drop racing down the glass, watching the seconds slowly pass. The dashboard lights are glowing dim, creating a world on a sudden whim. Fogging up the windows with my breath, a temporary pause in life and death. Inside the glass capsule, safe and dry, underneath the weeping heavy sky. The roof is a drum for the falling rain, washing away the stress and the pain. The world outside is muffled and far, hidden away in this little car. Reclining the seat, closing my eyes, listening to the water's lullaby. Tracing a finger on the misty pane, writing a name and erasing it again. The radio playing a song from the past. Moments like this, they go too fast. A passerby with a broken umbrella, reading the scene like a storyteller. But they can't see me inside this shell, under the water's hypnotic spell. Smell of old leather and cold fresh air. Solitude is something rare. Inside the glass capsule, safe and dry, underneath the weeping heavy sky. The roof is a drum for the falling rain, washing away the stress and the pain. The world outside is muffled and far, hidden away in this little car. Reclining the seat, closing my eyes, listening to the water's lullaby. The thunder rolls in the distance deep, rocking my heavy soul to sleep. No destination, no place to go, just watching the river's endless flow. The hazard lights click a rhythmic beat, stopping, time to start the engine, drive away. The air smells like vanilla and old glue, a labyrinth built for the chosen few. Dust motes dancing in a shaft of light, hiding from the coming of the night. Tall shelves reaching up to the dark, leaving on my soul a quiet mark. Fingertips tracing the leather spines, reading between the faded gold lines. The world outside is fast and loud, but here I'm wrapped in a paper cloud. But the silence is the same, lost in a kingdom of ink and wood, misunderstood, but it feels so good. Time moves slower in these narrow aisles, measuring the distance in pages, not miles. A sanctuary for the wandering mind, leaving the digital noise behind. I found a note in the margin written by a stranger who was clearly smitten. A date from 50 years ago, a romance that I will never know. Ghosts of readers who stood right here, whispering their dreams into my ear. The floorboards creak under my weight, accepting the burden of my fate. Just another soul looking for a clue in a world that is painted in sepia hue. Whispers in the stacks calling my name. Every story different, but the silence is the same, lost in a kingdom of ink and wood, misunderstood, but it feels so good. Time moves slower in these narrow aisles, measuring the distance in pages, not miles. The librarian watches with knowing eyes. She knows where the true treasure lies. Not in the gold, not in the fame, but in the magic of a forgotten name. Shh. Listen to the room breathe, a spell that I never want to leave. Check it out, take it home. Another life to live. Check it out. 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 Against the cold glass pane, racing through the mist and the heavy rain. Towns fly by like sparks in the night, disappearing before I catch the light. My reflection is a ghost on the black. There is no way now of turning back. The cabin sways with a gentle rock, ignoring the hands on the ticking clock. A book lies open on the small bed sheet, listening to the steel and the iron beat. Rolling on the rhythm of the rails, chasing the moon and the comet tails, between the departure and the place to be. Caught in a moving sanctuary, the world outside is a blur of speed, but here flickering golden dim, traveling on a prayer and a sudden whim. Strangers sleeping in the rooms next door, vibrations humming through the carpet floor. I wonder where they go, I wonder who they are. Each of us sitting on a falling star. Coffee in a paper cup, shaking slightly, holding on to the moment tightly. The tunnel approaches, swallowing the sound, buried deep underneath the ground. Rolling on the rhythm of the rails, chasing the moon and the comet tails, between the departure and the place to be. Breaks for a station light, a lonely platform in the middle of the night. No one gets off and no one gets on, in a blink of an eye it is already gone. Just a snapshot of a sleeping town before the heavy eyelids drag me down. Conversations in the frame, whispered low, stories that the visitors will never know. Trapped inside the canvas and the gold, waiting for the history to unfold. The guard walks by with a heavy pace, the only movement in this holy place. I stand before the blue and the red, listening to the words that I never said. The colors change as the night goes deep, while the city outside is fast asleep. A yellow moon in a painted sky, watching the real world passing by. Art is the silence that screams the loud, far away from the noise of the crowd. A perfect moment, a perfect pause, free from the world and its heavy law. Inside this box of black, there is no way to turn the clock back, except for here in the chemical bath, walking down a silent memory path. The smell of acid sharp and strong, correcting the moments that went wrong. A blank white sheet sliding in the tray, holding the secrets of yesterday, rocking the liquid side to side, where the shadows and the highlights hide. Slowly, softly, out of the white, a face appears in the red safe light. Magic happening before my eyes. No room for digital pixel light. paper on the wire line, dripping wet with a grand design. A moment captured in a blink of a shutter, words that we didn't have time to utter, grainy textures and high contrast, making the fleeting seconds last. The clock on the wall has glowing hands, counting the grains of the hourglass sands. I am the keeper of the visual truth, preserving the fading days of you. Slowly, softly, out of the white, a face appears in the red safe light. Magic happening before my eyes. No room for digital pixel lies, developing the past, freezing the time, caught in the middle of a silent ride. A silver image, wet and new, bringing me back to the thought of the world outside is bright and loud, but here I am wrapped in a crimson cloud. Patience is the only rule I know, watching the history slowly grow, fixing the image so it stays for good, understood or misunderstood. Lights on, the spell is broken, but the picture remains. Gathering the branches dry and old, fighting back the creeping cold. The flame dances up yellow and red, chasing the shadows from inside my head. The smell of pine and burning wood, misunderstood, but it feels so good. Sparks flying up to meet the sky, wondering where the moments fly. My hands are warm, my back is chill, sitting perfect. forgot the troubles of yesterday. The pop of the sap, a sudden sound breaking the silence of the holy ground. Tea in a tin cup, steaming hot. Happy with the little that I have got. The trees stand guard, tall and black. There is no need to ever go back. Just watching the lows turn into cold, warming the body and warming the soul. Staring at the fire, lost in the gaze, burning up the memories of the days. Embers and stars glowing the same. Life is just a moth drawn to the flame. The world disappears beyond the light, wrapped in the blanket of the heavy night. No walls, no roof, just the open air. A primitive peace that we can share. The fire breathes, expanding and shrinking, stopping the heavy weight of thinking. Ash turns to gray, heat turns to low, watching the final dying glow. Smoke rising up in a twisted line, blurring the border of yours and mine. The smoke remains. Zip up the tent. Sleep sound.